Star Fox Assault released in 2005 on the GameCube, and actually wasn't developed by Nintendo. I mean, I'm sure they had their part in it some way or another, but it's actually developed by Namco, the same developers behind the outstanding Ace Combat series, which is still one of the best arcade flight games on the market. Let me just get this out of the way right now. I am not a Star Fox fan. I never liked the original. I think 64 is a bad game and I don't understand the hype behind it. Adventures was good, but I never got to finish it. Definitely wanting to come back to that for a review. Command on the DS was mediocre at best, and Star Fox Zero on the Wii U was a failure and not what fans were clamoring for so long. Even the official release of the cancelled Star Fox 2 was no good. Actually, my buddy from the Toka Show ended up really liking that game, so check that out. But with all that being said, well, I like Star Fox Assault. Right away, before even hitting the start screen, the game gives you a cinematic of all the characters on your team. Of course, Fox McCloud, the leader of Star Fox, Falco Lombardi, a cool and hotshot pilot who is not only good friends with Fox, but he also has sort of a friendly rivalry going on. Crystal, a telepath that you may recognize from Star Fox Adventures. And finally, Slippy, the up. It says he's the mechanic, but from playing the game to completion, I do not remember one time where he did anything of the sort. The reason I say Slippy is the up is because he's the one always getting in trouble and in need of your support.
Okay, Slippy, don't get cocky.
Slippy, you've already got bogeys on your tail.
Uh-oh, I'm in trouble.
Slippy is a running joke even to this day about how useless he is. It's a little toned down in this game, but he's still Slippy. The cutscenes for Assault are really impressive. Third-party games hardly ever push the limits of the GameCube, but anytime Nintendo developed their own games for the system, they really took advantage of what the GameCube could do and ended up looking graphically impressive. Though, as evidenced by this game by Namco, Resident Evil 4 by Capcom, Rogue Squadron 2 and 3 by Factor 5 and LucasArts, second and third-party games could push the envelope and looking better than anything on the PS2. It's not just the cutscenes that are gorgeous, the graphics and the gameplay are equally as good. This is easily the best looking Star Fox game to this day. And that's saying a lot, because as of making this video, the last Star Fox game that was released was in 2016. 11 years after Assault released. That's sad. The first level is classic Star Fox, on rails. I'm normally not a fan of this type of gameplay, but I like these levels as long as it doesn't overstay its welcome. The R-Wings are some of the most iconic spaceships in all of video games, and I gotta say that I especially love the design of it in this game. It's wider, sleeker, and I specifically love the green thrusters on the back. The animation when it boosts, spins, and brakes are just so f***ing cool. Oh my god, I love it. The first mission sees Team Star Fox coming in to save the day from the nephew of series villain Andross, Andrew Oikonoid. Andrew wants to follow in the footsteps of his uncle Andross, all the way up to copying his look-alike ship that transforms into the signature Andross-looking fighting mode thing.
I must bring an end to our relationship! Die! Ha 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 ha!
This is a great nod to fans of the original and 64, but it also acts as a great first boss for the game. Just when you think the boss battle is over, here comes a deadly Aperoid moth creature that puts up more of a challenge than the previous boss encounter. After the mission is complete, you get a ranking on number of kills, completion time, and difficulty bonus. This offers replayability to the players who want to squeeze all they can out of this game. I normally don't like rankings after each mission, but it fits perfect for this game, and most missions aren't too terribly long that it doesn't get frustrating if you need to play a mission numerous times to get the top score you may desire. You can go through the game on different difficulties to acquire all of the medals to truly 100% it. There's even a really cool unlock where if you get all silver medals, you can unlock the classic arcade game Xevious. Not every mission is on rails, and this next one is easily the most controversial. A lot of Star Fox fans hate this game for this, but this is a reason that makes me love it. The on-foot missions. The over-the-top, non-stop action isn't only for the R-Wings. The on-foot missions are just as action-packed. Fox moves at a fast pace, which means that these sections aren't a drag whatsoever. They do not slow down. The controls are tight and responsive, but the worst thing about it is the camera. The C-Stick doesn't move the camera like it naturally would. The only way to move the camera is with moving in general, which means in any tight spot, it's cumbersome and frustrating. Especially if there's a group of enemies that want you dead, you can hold down the R trigger to lock on your movement and aim your weapon to shoot whatever you need to, but it still slows the game down, which is weirdly the same controls as the R-Wing, right? It's a strange choice. Your default weapon is a blaster, but you can also pick up several different guns such as rocket launchers, sniper rifles, and the most effective, the machine gun. Anytime I see these suckers on the battlefield, I book it straight there. There's another form of on-the-ground combat, your tank, the Landmaster. It has similar design to the R-Wing, and you already know how much I love the look of those. The Landmaster sections aren't my favorite, but they are still fun. Similar to the R-Wing, the Landmaster not only has the same design, but the same role that is as effective and looks equally as badass. The Landmaster has a hover button and sounds cooler than it actually is. It's slow to rise and heavy to move, which wastes time if you're under a time-sensitive mission. Literally has not improved since 64. It's a cool vehicle in concept, not super cool in execution. I don't know how I haven't talked about this yet, but the soundtrack is a 10 out of freaking 10. The sweeping orchestra sets great tone for whatever setting you're in. The music becomes really intense in boss battles, and incredibly uplifting and epic when there's some crazy action. Non-stop action is something this game does the best. There's never a dull moment. From running and gunning on the ground to space battles, it does not slow down in the least. I mean, at one point, you are shooting down asteroids on the wing of Falco's ship on an ice planet. I mean, tell me something that's not more badass. My dog doesn't count. Not all levels are on rails or on the ground. There are some where you fly around engaging in some awesome dogfights. On some missions, you can even go from running on the ground to zooming off in your R-Wing seamlessly. Also, if you're in your R-Wing and are taking damage, it shows your ship sort of falling apart, even to the point where you're missing major parts of your ship. It's the little things like that that impress me. Throughout the game, Fox and the crew travel to different planets with quite different locations. There are only 2 or 3 areas that really blend together, but all the others stand apart from each other. There's even a level where you visit Saria, the planet from Star Fox Adventures.
Yeah. I'll take care of things here so you two can come back on your honeymoon.
What are you, nuts? We're not yet,
Not yet.
I mean, this isn't a conversation for children.
While this is neat, this is one of the most frustrating sections of the entire game. In this mission, you are timed and need to take out bombs before the clock runs out. You have the option to use the R-Wing, but there's no use because everything you need to do is on the ground. The only reason that the R-Wing is an option on the Saria planet is that your team is in constant need of your help.
Fox, get the enemy behind me! Oh, my R-Wing's going down! Oh no, I gotta bail!
Can't go on like this.
It is a true challenge to get through the Saria mission without any of your crew having to flee due to taking too much damage. When I'm on a short time limit, I can't take care of everyone else on my team while I'm trying to keep this planet from blowing up. I mean, can they not ask their other teammates for help? I get that Fox is the leader, but there are other people on the team trying to keep a planet from blowing up. Slippy. Pigma, who was once a member of the Star Wolf team, stole a piece of a core memory, and it really messed him up. The Aperoids are controlled by a queen that wants to infect everything. Luckily, after Fox and the gang nab another core memory unit, and with the help of Slippy's scientist father, Beltino, he creates a program that if you fire it at the queen, it will take it all down. This final section is one of the best parts of the entire game. It's intense, over the top, and sort of touching. There's a part in this last area that I will not spoil for you, because you really need to experience it for yourself. The multiplayer is great and a defining feature of Assault. Sadly, I couldn't get any footage because I lost the receiver to my Wavebird controller. And for some reason, I didn't have an extra corded controller laying around. It's basically just deathmatch and dogfighting, but as you continue to play through the game, you unlock maps to play in the multiplayer area. Star Fox Assault is a controversial game. I can see why a lot of people don't like it, but I think it's the best in the series. It has its faults, like how 30% of the levels, environment-wise, seem to blend together. The variety in missions could have been better. The on-ground missions outweigh the on-rails and flying ones almost 2 to 1. I'm not saying that I don't like it. Hell, I think it's the reason I love this game the most. Speaking of which, the on-ground missions are a blast with a fun variety of weapons and a fast pace. It absolutely could have utilized the C-stick more for the camera, but it's still my favorite part of the game. I'm not a fan of on-rails gameplay, but I really like how it was used in this game. It shook things up and didn't overstay its welcome. The change from being able to dogfight in your R-Wing and go from ground to R-Wing into space seamlessly is a welcome one. The story is surprisingly great. The graphics are excellent and some of the best on the system. Star Fox Assault is an amazing, over-the-top action game and one of the best on one of my favorite video game consoles, and in my opinion, is criminally underrated. I give Star Fox Assault on the Nintendo GameCube a 9 out of 10.